God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, and the presence of God watches over me wherever I am. God is Unity's prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, and the presence of God watches over me wherever I am. God is. What an affirmation. The light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, and the presence of God watches over me wherever I am. God is. Here we go again. The light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, and the presence of God watches over me wherever I am. God is. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever I am, God is.
Good morning. Good morning. So I want to remind you, it's prayers at the candles this morning. So at any time during the service, if you would like to come forth and light a candle for prayer for any situation, circumstance, person, yourself, whatever you would like to light that candle for, please feel free at any time during the service to come forward and do that. If you would like to write a name on the board to be included in Lou's prayer this morning, you can do that as well. In just a few minutes, I'm going to have the board come up here, though, so that Lou can see it when she does her prayer. So, name on the board or light a candle, if you choose. Thank you, Dave, for Unity's Prayer for Protection song. Thank you so much. I have used that song so much, memorized that song and used that song to keep me from being fearful in a number of different ways. When I couldn't get the fear out of me, I had to sing it out, and it works wonderful, so thank you so much. How is everybody this morning? Woo-hoo! All right, very good, very good. Cammie, thank you so much. Cammie joins us on the boards this morning. She comes and she does pre-service music to the meditation every fourth Sunday. So thank you so much for doing that, and then stays and does pre-service music. Just beautiful to walk in and hear those bells. And you know what's even more beautiful? Is to watch her play. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Cammie. It's gorgeous. Okay, I have a few announcements going on. Here we are on the last Sunday of June already. So be sure and pick up an announcement page if you want to take the affirmations for June about light home with you. There's a page over there because next week we will change our theme and those will be different. We will be sharing our exceptional income towards the end of the service today, so you might be thinking about that. We'll leave a time for some testimonies about exceptional income, a brief story of how it came about, and if you choose to share a tithe on that exceptional income, we graciously receive your tithes as well. This coming Wednesday night at 7 p.m. It is the 5th Wednesday, and we will have motion of devotion. So that is a call and response singing group experience. Roy and I will be here to do that. It's a devotion to love in singing form. It is a singing form of Ernest Holmes' spiritual mind treatment. So I invite you to check that out this Wednesday at 7. I don't think I have any more announcements at this time right now. So let's just get going into our quiet time and our time of reflection in our prayers, in our songs, and in our message today. I just invite you to breathe with me right now and relax. Breathe a mindful breath as we relax into this beautiful day. And we bring ourselves into alignment with that divine presence within us and into alignment with each other as we speak our mission statement here this morning. We recognize and realize the omnipresence of divine love as the truth of all.
will make a quiet place, a quiet place within my mind, and I will listen, Holy Spirit, I will listen. Make a quiet place within my heart, and I will listen, Holy Spirit, I will listen. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will listen, Holy Spirit, I will listen. I will make a quiet place. I will make a quiet place. I will make a quiet place.
Please join with me in this quiet space, in this place where we can connect with that interior silence. And I recognize the dwelling presence of God, the one presence, the one power. It is unconditional love, wisdom, intelligence, creativity, and wholeness. It is the perfection of creation. the source of all life. And I recognize this God as the infinite spirit moving in and through and as me, as the source and substance of my life and all life. And I activate within my consciousness the presence of Spirit of God, aligning myself with all the goodness of Spirit that is always available, inherent as my life. And I feel that at one with the source and substance. And I know this is true for each and every one here as we join together, aligning our consciousness with that fullness and that wholeness of Spirit. And we feel that tangible presence in and through and around us. And it is in this awareness that I can speak my word, affirming the wholeness of this truth for each prayer request and those listed on the prayer list and those also in the prayer chest. And as I speak my word, I know that the fullness of Spirit is active and present as each life that is requesting prayer. For Christopher and Mary, Ken, Mary, Forrest, Deanne, Doug Lowitz, Grace Lowitz, Linda Smith, David and Tamara, Margaret, Don Anderson and daughter, Jason, Gabe, Maddie and Dawn, Jeanette and Jeff, Carol, Molly, Bill, Christina, Renee, Richard, Justina, Russ, Anthony, Cassie, Cammie, Lori, Gia and Sophia, John and Kate, Kathy. I affirm that each one of these people are held in the fullness of Spirit, and that I know each life is energized and strengthened from within, for God's life is present right where they are. And I accept that for each requester and each one requested for, the expression of good in the form of love, happiness, peace, health, protection. I declare that there are no obstacles to our acceptance of the flow of good in the business and personal affairs, relationships, health, and finances. Every good thing for the challenge that is perceived is available right now. We're living our greatest purpose on earth. For we are all abundantly supplied. And as I speak my word for these prayer requests, I know that the divine is in all. It is active, alive, and expressing love in all areas. And we live in gratitude, knowing that all is God, all is good. And this service is blessed, and all who made it possible. We are uplifted and enfolded by this energy of love that radiates from each of us here. Our consciousness of the divine is expanded through the music, the message, and the light of each individual radiating right here, right now. So filled with gratitude and appreciation for this magnificent divine life that is our life, so freely given with all its goodness, I release these words into the law, knowing that Spirit responds spontaneously and instantaneously, saying yes as we join together and declare, and so it is.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul.
I'd like to call your attention to the prayer chest, just to the left at the bottom of the stairs. If there is something on your mind, some beliefs, some feelings, some situations that you feel is a little clouding the lens of your light, please put your concern in the prayer chest, and I'll be happy to do some affirmative prayer this week to help clear that lens. From West Festler, no degree of worldly darkness can extinguish the glow of a soul's inner light. And from Neil Donald Walsh, be a bringer of light, for your light can do more than illuminate your own path. You can be the light which truly lights the world.
Thank you, Lou, so much. All right, well, it's the last Sunday of June, so it will be our last talk about abundant light. And today we're going to focus, I couldn't let light go by without focusing on lighten up, right? Because it's a message that I always need. So we're going to talk about lighten up. Life can be fun, okay? We're going to talk about that today. So I have a quote that has been accredited to many different people, but I thought it was pretty pertinent. So can you put that next slide up there, Jeff? I know, and we didn't talk about this ahead, so Jeff and I are on like, there it is. Don't take life too seriously. Nobody gets out alive anyway, right? Okay, so I like to remember that because I can get stuck taking life and myself in particular very seriously. Anybody have that issue? Oh, some. Okay, good. Then we're on the right track. So, to lighten up, now this is me, this is my opinion, okay? To lighten up is to stay centered in the positivity of life, is to focus on what is working in our lives, to focus on what feels right and good in my mind and in my body and in my affairs, right? To lighten up is to let go of worry, shame, and doubt, and to come alive in this very moment, trusting in the goodness of God as your good. The goodness of God is my good. When I trust in that, it's way easier for me to lighten up. All of a sudden, I'm not really in charge of everything, right? It's not really my responsibility to make everything work out perfectly. It's already working perfectly, and it's my responsibility to notice that, right? So the result of lightening up, I think, can be fun. Do you guys remember that? Fun? Do you remember that word? Fun. Yes. So I'm going to show, there we go. So a very good friend of mine, Sandy Davies. Who knows Sandy Davies? She's an artist. And when I had the bookstore, we had the bookstore for 2.5 years on Main Street. Some of you maybe don't know that. And when the bookstore was down there, we had, I had big hula hoops outside, and I hula hooped all the time, you know, waving to the traffic and stuff. And Sandy came along and did this beautiful piece of work, this art. There's me hula hooping. And she put Finding Upliftment Now for fun. And I really, really loved that. I thought, that's a really good way to look at fun. Finding upliftment now. And you notice that it's not an event or a person that's fun. It's me finding the fun in the person. It's me finding the fun in the circumstance or situation or what it is. I'm finding upliftment now. So I really like that. And I went to the dinner for 8 on Friday night. Liz and Diana are here, and John helped as well. And so part of that, I'm going to show the whole thing and talk to us afterwards. It was a lot of fun. But one of the things was trivia. Is my trivia team 2 here? Yeah, team 2. Okay.
Team 1.
Team 2 came in second place. So. Notice we were losers. One of the questions was, Indonesia banned this because they might stimulate passion. What was it? It was hula hoops. What the heck? It might stimulate passion. I hope so. I thought that was funny, and this morning I couldn't remember this exactly, so I knew John had gotten them off the internet, and so I looked this up. Well, it wasn't just Indonesia. Japan had a problem with it. There was a lot of countries that had a problem and called America crazy, nauseating hula hoops or something like this. So anyway, I think hula hooping is fun. So does Chandler. We take him to concerts and hula hoop. So I thought that was so funny. I was showing this already this morning, and he comes up with the hula hoops. They might stimulate passion. Be careful.
I'm married.
Is that a bad thing? Not in America. Okay, so I say be silly and laugh. Laugh with others and laugh at yourself. Imagine, wonder, and dream. Play every day in some way. Boy, I played the other day, Friday, I played Legos all day. It was really fun. Sing, dance, play games, play music, play in nature, write, play in the theater, play sports games. Have fun. So today I'm going to read a little bit of an article by Henrik Edberg, and it's called Lighten Up. He says, one problem with being involved in personal development is that you can get a bit too serious. Right? Yeah. There are a lot of big, perhaps life-changing words, choices, and products in this field. So there is naturally often a pretty serious tone overall. This is good because it can help people to take their life and time seriously and make them less prone to waste such valuable things. I agree. But having a too serious mindset isn't that great all the time. It can lead to taking things way too seriously and create big problems and negative feelings and events from pretty much nothing. Boy, have I done that before, made up a whole story about something and it wasn't even true. Wow. Lightening up can help you to drop unimportant stuff and leave you with more time and energy for the really important things in your life. Like building Legos all day. This may sound all well and good, but how do you actually lighten up consistently? Or how do you lighten up at all? So he says, here's what I have done. So just click on the next down. Yep, leave, oh, no, go back. There you go. See, we're in tune here. Realize that you are not your thoughts or emotions. Realize. You have to really realize that you are not your thoughts and emotions. You are more than that. One key to being able to lighten up is the ability to see that much of your seriousness, much of the need to, for instance, to be right, comes from things that aren't really you. When you become more conscious of how your thoughts and emotions aren't who you are, when you are able to see a separation, then it becomes easier to not take things or yourself so seriously and keep a lighter frame of mind. When you are able to see a separation between your thoughts and emotions and who you really are. Okay? All right, next one up there, Jack. Realize that you are not your ego. That's a hard one because the ego is very tricky in our lives. It makes you believe it is who you are. If you are too much identified with your ego, then the ego will, with a deceptive negative inner voice, tell you things like, I'm very important. And how dare they say such things as jokes or criticisms about me? This is the ego trying to protect itself from a perceived attack from someone. And so you may be convinced to go into a serious mood that leads to overreacting. Overreacting. But when you realize more and more that such an instant in your daily life is just your ego reacting and not you, then it becomes easier to not take things so seriously. It becomes easier to just ignore what the ego is shouting and determine your own reactions, thoughts, and behaviors. So we have to be awake and aware of these things going on. We have to be awake and aware when our ego rears or when we've been triggered, right? What you once may have blown up or been fuming internally about, all of a sudden you don't get that worked up over it anymore. I have found that quite often I just mentally shrug my shoulders and move on to the next thing, right? Again, as I have mentioned before, good books to read and reread to understand more about yourself and your ego. I liked this because it's my favorite book about it too. About your ego, thought, and emotions are A New Earth and the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I learned so much from A New Earth Earth in particular, I read The Power of Now first, and then later A New Earth came out, and I really felt like A New Earth explained how to do The Power of Now. I really felt like that was just like the workbook. So much stuff in that book, and especially about the trickiness of the ego and not believing yourself to be your ego. You are beyond that. So he says, and then you need to practice the advice and see how it applies to you. You mean we have to practice, right? So that's why I read that book so many times, because I read that and I practiced it. And there was just one little thing that was catching me, right? I read that and I practiced it. And then I went back to that book again. And there were so many things in there that awakened me to who I really am and allowed me to move beyond thinking that I'm my thoughts, my emotions, or my ego. So I do suggest reading, not just that, but any kind of spiritual work, study, and applying it, practicing those things. This isn't really something you fix in a week, but something that you can make progress with over months or years. In my experience, it's been years and years and years and years, right? Okay, Jeff. Okay, so this is learning how to lighten up. Develop an abundance mentality. He says, now to lighten up is still about taking your work seriously. Do well and not slack off. It's not about finding a way to rationalize away the hard work as unimportant. It's more about not taking yourself too seriously and being able to not take negative events and results that seriously. One helpful thing here is to develop an abundance mentality. An abundance mentality tells you that there are always new chances and opportunities. Always new chances and opportunities. This relieves much of the pressure you may feel if you have a scarcity mentality that makes you think that you only got this one shot right now, right? Or it makes you feel like an utter failure just because you just stumbled and things didn't work out. To create an abundance mentality allows you to see beyond just this circumstance, beyond just this one thing you messed up, right? Into the unlimited possibilities and opportunities available. Opportunities is what we're going to talk about next month. Abundant opportunities. An abundance mentality allows you to see life in a more long-term perspective. And it can help you improve your performance, since with it, you're creating a lot less pressure and anxieties within your own mind. Few things will actually be the end of the world, even though an overly serious mindset may fool you into believing otherwise. Suggestions he gives. Cut down on your media consumption. Read fewer papers and watch less TV. And use your new free time from that for things that reinforce your abundance mentality, like reading, studying, and then practice what you're reading, right? Example of such things would be self-improvement blogs, and books and tapes and DVDs on the same subject. Because there you can find information and people that come from a place of abundance. Or you can hang out with people with an abundance mentality in real life. Whatever flows into your mind will leave imprints. So be selective to be good to yourself of what you allow to flow into your mind, right? Surround yourself with people with abundance mentality. Learn from them. Okay. He's so good. Remind yourself constantly. This, I think actually this one here, we forget about God in our everyday normal life when we're going about. We forget that. One time I had somebody say to me, and they weren't talking about me, they were talking about some in-laws that were incredibly Christian religion, you know, and they talked about it all the time, and they were kind of in-laws of them. And he said, they think everything's about God. And I'm like, okay. So do I. And we forget that God is expressing in and through and as all things. And sometimes we think those things are wrong or not good, or for some reason we have our judgment on that. Our ego has our judgment on that. And so we have to remind ourselves constantly that God is all there is. Everything is God in expression. Maybe not like the God that you maybe grew up with. Maybe we need to mature into a bigger idea of God, a more expanded idea that includes everyone and everything. But to keep a little corner of our mind open to that God presence, it's within you, closer than hands and feet. How could it not be a part of everything? This is the very basis and essence of everything, right? So we need to remind ourselves that all the time. He says your mind will easily slip into identifying with what your ego is trying to tell you or what your emotions are saying. It's got a big grip on us, this ego. And all we have to do is recognize and realize just for a fraction of a moment that I'm separate from that. And that separation gives us space in there. The space for God to fill that up and give us a new perspective. Okay, changes us. He says, this basically means that no, I'm on the wrong one. It's very easy to forget not to take things so seriously. He says, I have posted a reminder to lighten up on my fridge, so I see it several times each day. And I think how crazy I've been in the past and how crazy people must think I am, especially my children, because I put reminders up everywhere. I think I've told you this before, just 3x5 cards. My reminders were a little bit more than just lighten up. I would have whole paragraphs to read so that when I would cook, I would open that up and I would just be reading this. I would remember my truth all the time. Then I'd go to the bathroom, I had them on my mirror. I remembered the truth in there. I remembered it in my bedroom. I remembered it on the hallway mirror. And I showed it for everybody to see. I never thought that I was weird. I just thought I was trying to remember that God is all there is. And that has been so valuable to me, to connect God to everything. I even connected God to my mailbox. And my sister laughs at me because there's a time I got a lot of bills in the mail, you know, and got a lot of, and I wasn't doing so good prosperity-wise. I was in debt and I hated going to the mailbox. You know, it was like, and then I thought, that poor little mailbox, not its fault. So I started calling it my fulfillment box, right? And I really had to get myself up to go to the fulfillment box. I needed to change my concept in my mind about this whole situation. This is just one tiny little thing. So because I was a stay-at-home mom, I had all the time in the world to do these crazy things. And they worked. I had all kinds of signs and reminders all the time. God is. That's just good enough right there. God is. So remind yourself constantly, however you need to do that. In your car, Quickie Tire thinks I'm kind of crazy too. Because I have things in my car, right? All right, next one here. This is the last one. Assume rapport. We've talked about this a little bit before. Assuming rapport means when you meet people, assume rapport. This basically means that you imagine that you are meeting one of your best friends. How different would that be if beforehand you imagined you were meeting one of your best friends? How would you show up differently to that conversation? No matter who it is, no matter what it is, okay? Doing this can help you put yourself into a lighter and more relaxed mood. Often a more useful mood to be in than a really serious one when interacting with other people. Do you agree? Yeah. So, that's the end of that article. Joel Goldsmith, one of my very favorite metaphysical authors, he tells me, I am a transparency through which God expresses itself in the world. I am a transparency through which God expresses itself in the world. So I ask myself often, how transparent am I for God's light and wisdom to shine through me? Come up now, David. Scripture tells me, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Just feel that. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Wow. All I have to do for perfect peace is keep my mind stayed on God. Keep your mind centered in thoughts about God, thoughts about goodness and love, and you will find that your mind is filled with the peace and joy of God energy. How could it not be? When my mind is focused on that, it must be filled with that, right? When my mind is still and empty of fearful thoughts, empty of thoughts of shame or doubt, anything fearful that I am separate from my source, then my vessel is pure and clean. And that allows divine intelligence, or the light of God, to shine in its fullness through me out into the world with the full power of God, also called the glory of God. So I invite you this morning to sing special music with us. And I'm sure that you've heard this before, and I would love to hear you sing it as your own as David leads us in our special music.
Let's proclaim it. In this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hiding under a bushel, hiding under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Hiding under a bushel, I'm gonna let it shine. Hiding under a bushel, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Ain't nobody gonna poop it out. Ain't nobody gonna poop it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Ain't nobody gonna poop it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Ain't nobody gonna poop it out. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the world, all around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. In this very moment, in this very moment, I'm gonna let it shine. In this very moment, I'm gonna let it shine. In this very moment, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. No matter what my circumstance, no matter what my circumstance, I'm gonna let it shine. No matter what my circumstance, I'm gonna let it shine. No matter what my circumstance, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Ooh, that one was really liberating. Sorry, we're doing that one again. No matter what my circumstance, no matter what my circumstance, I'm gonna let it shine. No matter what my circumstance, I'm gonna let it shine. No matter what my circumstance, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it
How's that for playing? And I have some hula hoops in the bookstore if you want to stimulate your passion. Okay, one last slide to sum it up here. Shine so brightly that others have no choice but to light up with you. Let's sing.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moon glow. God, you are every star shine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe, and your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
Okay, as the ushers come forth, this is time to actively and consciously participate in the spiritual principle of circulation of giving and receiving. So if you'll take your gift or your tithe in your hand and just know that this is a symbol of all the good that comes in and through me from that unlimited source. And I graciously and joyfully let go of this into the world, knowing that as it goes forth, it enhances my community, our world, and what goes out comes back, for it is a continuous flow. And our affirmation, I am united with the abundance of God energy. I feel my worth.
I am the light of the world. That is my only function. That is why I am here. From A Course in Miracles. I am the light of the world. That is my only function. That is why I am here. I am the light of the world. That is my only function. That is why I am here. One more time, here it comes. I am the light of the world. That is my only function. That is why I am here.
And these gifts are gratefully received. May they go forth illuminating our church, our community, and our world. And so it is.
Okay, so here we are, claiming our good about our inner light, about our life. So this will be the last time for these. If you want to take them home, they're on the handout. Here we go, all the way down, all together like we mean it. Today I recognize my inner light. Today I choose to radiate that light out into the world. Today I direct my light to illuminate others. Today is my day to shine, and so it is.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh,